Okay, here we're given a quadratic function, x squared minus x plus 4, and we're asked to simplify f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. That's also known as the difference quotient. All right, so let's begin by figuring out what f of x plus h is. So here's our f of x. Now remember, whatever's in the parentheses, in this case x plus h, gets substituted wherever we see an x. So here we see x squared. Right? So f of x plus h would be x plus h squared. Right? And then minus x. So instead of x, we're going to put in x plus h, and then plus 4. Right? So that's f of x plus h. Now from here, we're going to substitute in the values and simplify this difference quotient. So we start with f of x plus h. Right? And so I can substitute that in. That's x plus h squared. We just figured this out. Minus x plus h plus 4. Right? And then we have minus, and so that goes here, f of x. So f of x was given to be x squared minus x plus 4. Now we want to be a little careful, that's all over h. When we subtract that f of x, we're subtracting the whole function, meaning we are going to have to distribute this negative 1. Right? So I'm going to put that in parentheses, just to remind myself, that's a good habit, that I will have to distribute. Okay, so from here, it's just a matter of simplifying. So what I'm going to do is multiply out x plus h squared. When I do that, I'll get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And then here, looks like I'll have to distribute this negative, leave me with negative minus h. And then here we have a plus 4. And then here I'll go ahead and distribute this negative as well. Apply the distributive property, and I have negative x squared plus x minus 4 all over h. Okay, at this point you'll see some cancellation. Notice we have an x squared here and a negative x squared. Those add to 0. All right, we have a negative x and an x. Those add to 0. And we have a 4 and a negative 4. Those add to 0. All right, so that leaves us with 2xh plus h squared minus h all over h. All right, so now at this point I can see there is a GCF in the numerator, so I'll go ahead and factor that out. When I factor out an h, I'll be left with 2x plus h, and then minus 1. Remember, when you factor out an h there, there's a factor of 1 that'll be left behind. All right, last step, divide out that h, and that leaves me with the final result, the simplified difference quotient, 2x plus h minus 1. Okay, so there you go. That's how you simplify the difference quotient for this particular quadratic.